DOULUO DALU Chapter 12, Disorder Splitting Wind Hammer Method. Part 1. The two entrance gate guards appeared to be 20 years old or so. The spirit power fluctuating on their bodies was not at all distinct, feeling as if neither had reached even spirit master level. It looked like Nyuting City indeed was remote. From the spirit hall's level it could be seen that this city was of no importance in Tiando Empire. Uncle, greetings. I am a Nyuting Primary Spirit Master Academy first-year student. Teacher told me to come here to measure spirit grade. Tang-san indicated the school uniform he wore, speaking to the gate guard. With a look at the Nyuting Academy insignia Tang-san wore, the two guards both subconsciously revealed an envious light in their eye. The guard who spoke first said, "It turns out to be like this, then go inside. Reaching the first floor reception hall, look for Spirit Grandmaster Ma Xiunyo, he can help you." "Thank you." Tang-san replied, and hurriedly walked inside Spirit Hall. The two guards' envious gazes followed him as he entered Spirit Hall. One of them said, "Originally if I could gain admittance to Nyuting Academy, maybe right now I could become a Spirit Master." "Hey, Nyuting Academy should have its own means to test spirit power, only coming here to us when advancing. Why did this child come running to our Spirit Hall? Who knows? No matter, this however old child, perhaps it's his teacher letting him come with some message, and can't speak clearly." The 20-meter-high dome has a certain kind of atmosphere. Just as Tang-san walked into the Spirit Hall, he was immediately influenced by this kind of vast grandeur. The dome of the entire hall was completely covered with murals. In each and every little square was painted a variety of spirit depictions. On the bottom glittered brilliant gold, giving people a feeling of both gold and jade in glorious splendor and unadorned simplicity. Spirit Hall had all around huge crystal windows, the sunlight passing through the crystal windows refracting onto the murals, golden light glittering, giving people even more of a dazzling and stunning feeling. Reception Hall. Where was the reception hall? Influenced by the atmosphere of the hall, Tang-san began searching for the destination of this trip. Not many people were within Spirit Hall, and around were only some servants cleaning. Since Tang-san did not know how to find the reception hall, when he was preparing to approach some people to ask, he saw an acquaintance. Precisely that Spirit Grandmaster who assisted him in spirit awakening, Lone Wolf Spirit possessing Su-Yun Tao. Tang-san quickly stepped up to him. Right now together with Su-Yun Tao was a female spirit master, her stature tall and slender but well developed, facial features also counting among beauties. Two people talking and laughing, not taking the least bit notice of this tiny Tang-san approaching. "Grandmaster Su-Yun Tao!" Tang-san called out. Su-Yun Tao at this discovered his arrival, the female spirit master at his side making a surprised sound, saying, "How come our spirit hall still has such a small child? What noble son has come to our spirit hall to undergo spirit awakening?" Su-Yun Tao's eyes also could not identify Tang-san. After all, there were truly too many children undergoing his spirit awakening, and also Tang-san's current style of dress was no longer in such dire straits as before. "You are?" Seeing Su-Yun Tao's uncertain expression, Tang-san hurriedly explained. "Grandmaster Su-Yun Tao, I'm Tang-san. The last time you in Holy Spirit Village awakened that blue-silver grass spirit, innate full spirit power Tang-san. So it turns out to be you. Why are you running here?" People with innate full spirit power were after all easy to remember, and Su-Yun Tao immediately recalled Tang-san. Tang-san said, "Teacher let me come to Spirit Hall to undergo advancement appraisal, and in addition test spirit power rank." Su-Yun Tao was shocked. "You already obtained the first spirit ring? How fast? This uniform is Nyuting Academy's, worthy of being Nyuting City's best academy. The teachers truly take responsibility." Su-Yun Tao's companion was seemingly somewhat dissatisfied over being neglected. "Yun Tao, aren't you going to introduce me?" Su-Yun Tao noticed his companion was seemingly somewhat annoyed, and hastily fawning said, "Sissy, this is the child I mentioned to you with innate full spirit power, it's too bad his spirit is blue-silver grass. Otherwise the future prospects could be boundless. He currently already obtained a spirit ring, so is also considered a member of Spirit Masters. I will trouble you to wait here for me a moment, I will go see. He reaches Grandmaster Ma Xiunyo at the reception hall. Just when Ceci heard Su Yuntao speak of Tang San's innate full spirit power, her eyes clearly lit up for a moment, but as she heard Tang San, who had this innate full spirit power, unexpectedly had blue-silver grass spirit, the pleasant surprise on her face became a touch disdainful. Nodding, she said, "You go, I'll wait here for you." "Thank you." The impression Su Yuntao gave Tang San was still not wrong, and should be considered in Spirit Hall a conscientious attendant. Su Yuntao brought Tang San along the side, climbing a flight of stairs to the Spirit Hall second floor, reaching the second floor landing. Here Tang San could see was enclosed by rooms, and from here one also could directly see the first floor hall. With no need to ask, this should be Spirit Hall's office area. Su Yuntao was obviously impatient to go accompany Ceci, bringing Tang San with lightning speed to reach the door of a room, and without knocking, pushed the door and entered. "Who is this? Ah, how bold!" A somewhat hoarse voice resounded from within the room. This was a well-lit office, and behind a spacious desk sat an elderly man, in neat and tidy Spirit Master dress, along with the standard three swords symbol, showing he was a Spirit Grandmaster level battle Spirit Master. "So it's Yuntao, why are you kids so rash?" For Spirit Master's cultivation one must concentrate one's attention, with a steady disposition. Otherwise, you will come to resemble me, somehow unable to advance past the 30th rank threshold. Su Yuntao somewhat grumbling said. "Grandmaster Ma Xiunyo, don't be long-winded. This child has come to undergo advancement appraisal, I'll trouble you with it." Su Yuntao's relationship with this old Spirit Master was clearly very good, as the old Grandmaster chuckled. Just as his gaze dropped to Tang San, he couldn't help but be somewhat astonished. "Yuntao, are you certain this child has come to undergo advancement appraisal and not spirit awakening?" Part 2. Su Yuntao said with a wry smile. "Of course I'm certain, this child's spirit was awakened by me. He is that child I mentioned to you with innate full spirit power, whose spirit was blue-silver grass. He already obtained a spirit ring, therefore I'll trouble you. Ceci is still waiting for me, so I'll leave first." Finished speaking, patting Tang San's shoulder, he hastily walked out. Looking at Su Yuntao's departing back, the old Spirit Master Ma Xiunyo couldn't help but shake his head. Another youngster with his head turned by love. It's a pity, Ceci doesn't suit him at all. That girl's heart is too big, how can you shackle her? Tang San stood before Ma Xiunyo's desk, hearing Ma Xiunyo mutter to himself in his heart, slightly impatient. "Hello, Grandmaster Ma Xiunyo." Ma Xiunyo smiled slightly, looking at Tang San, saying, "Child, no need to call me Grandmaster, I cannot be counted as some Grandmaster, you just call me Grandpa Ma Xiunyo. This year I'm 81 years old, going by age calling me equal to your grandfather should be no problem." The old man's kind and affable voice immediately increased Tang San's good impression of him, and hastily again called, "Hello, Grandpa Ma Xiunyo." Ma Xiunyo smiled slightly, saying, "Come, I'll bring you to undergo advancement appraisal. You are a very polite child. It's a pity, spirit being blue-silver grass." While speaking, Ma Xiunyo led his apparent pseudo-grandson, pulling Tang San by the hand to leave the office, walking along the second floor landing towards the inner side of Spirit Hall. Just as they reached the end of the landing, 3 lofty vaulted doors appeared before Tang San. Ma Xiunyo said with a slight smile, "Here is the actual spirit testing room for undergoing advancement appraisal. Come, child." Speaking, he pushed open the leftmost door, bringing Tang San to walk inside. Entering this room, Tang San had a kind of particular feeling. In his body, mysterious heaven skill's internal strength was moving slightly as if following a kind of peculiar rhythm. This room was very wide, and also very tall, as much as 200 square meters, and an immense window provided ample lighting. Tang San immediately found the cause affecting his internal strength. On all four walls, all around were inset uncountable fist-sized black rocks, looking like the material should be the same as what Su Yun Tao originally used for spirit awakening. On the floor, was depicted an enormous token tile symbol, a long sword pointing down, pointing right at the gate entrance. This symbol was like the one mounted outside Spirit Hall. Grandmaster Ma Xiunyo saw Tang San taking notice of the pattern on the floor, and said with a slight smile, "We here are the lowest rank Spirit Hall, also known as a branch Spirit Hall. On the continent, even if it is the smallest city, they all have Spirit Hall on the same scale as ours. Above branch halls are Child Spirit Halls, and again a level higher is Lord Spirit Hall. Reaching the level of Lord Spirit Hall, they all are placed in great cities. In the two imperial capitals, there are fourth-rank Saint Spirit Halls. The fifth level is Papal Hall, there is our Spirit Hall's most sublime place. Above Papal Hall, there is only the legendary DOULUO Consecration Hall. Only a Spirit Master reaching DOULUO rank can have qualifications to enter there, and it is also the final destination of Spirit Masters possessing Spirit Hall registered rank above DOULUO. It is the place all Spirit Masters long for." The 6 kinds of level of Spirit Hall which Ma Xiunyo spoke of happened to correspond to the 6 kinds of signs Grandmaster spoke of. Tang San in his heart already understood this. "Thank you for telling me about these, Grandpa Ma Xiunyo. Can we begin?" Ma Xiunyo smiled, and said, "The youngsters today, temperament is all impatient like that. Very well. Then we will begin now. Give your spirit free play, release your spirit ring." Tang San walked over to stand in the center of the symbol, raising his right hand, with complete concentration and calm breath. Mysterious heaven skill internal strength combined with blue-silver grass to produce a warm current slowly rising from the center of his palm. Thick and sturdy blades of blue-silver grass swarmed out, within an eye blink already hanging down on the floor, the bright 100-year Datura snake spirit ring rising from under Tang San's feet, centered on his body, moving up and down. Ma Xiunyo at first wore a mild smile. When he saw the blue spirit grass surging out from Tang San's hand, his expression already became stunned. This is blue-silver grass." In Tang San's eyes glimmered a faint blue light. This was the characteristic effect of using blue-silver grass spirit. "Is there a problem, Grandpa Ma Xiunyo?" Ma Xiunyo rubbed his eyes. Certainly he had not seen wrong. Right now, his attention shifted to the yellow spirit ring on Tang San's body. 100-year spirit ring. It's actually a 100-year spirit ring. No wonder, this great change could occur even in blue-silver grass. "Child, I still do not know what your name is." "I'm called Tang San." Ma Xiunyo exhaled a long breath, calming the agitation in his heart. "I can confirm, you have a pretty good tutor at Nyeding Academy. However, Nyeding's Academy's tutor's ability to help you accomplish hunting a 100-year spirit beast is already very difficult. It's too bad blue-silver grass growth potential is too poor. Speaking otherwise, perhaps you truly could become a mighty spirit master. After all, your spirit has just now only been awakened for several months' time." Ma Xiunyo picked up a yellow crystal ball from a table to the side and walked over in front of Tang San. "Infuse your spirit power within. Let me have a look at what level you have reached. According to theory, you should be 11th. Ma Xiunyo's 1-eo rank word had still not been spoken, as the crystal ball he placed in Tang San's hand already shone progressively brighter with a yellow misty radiance. The radiance could not be considered very powerful, but it was extremely clear. This is 13th rank spirit power." Ma Xiunyo looked at Tang San a little bit as if seeing a little monster. Could it be because the spirit ring itself is powerful, incidentally increasing spirit power, but it still should not skip 2 ranks? Child, could you tell me, your spirit ring was hunted from what spirit beast? Part 3. Tang San without holding back, said. It was a datura snake. Ma Xiaonuo was greatly shocked. No wonder, unexpectedly it's the among lower-level spirit beasts most troublesome datura snake. Even is a 100-year datura snake, so that's why it has this kind of effect. No, not right. Your spirit is from the plant system, how can it use an animal system spirit ring? Child, you can't lie. That boss Xiao before was after all only a child, regarding spirits his understanding still could not be thorough, but this Ma Xiaonuo who had worked as attendant at Spirit Hall for several tens of years, regarding spirit ring rules he was quite clear, at once becoming aware of the crux. Tang San shook his head, saying, Grandpa Ma Xiaonuo, I'm not lying at all. Why can't plant system spirits use animal system spirit rings? Under certain conditions, this can be carried out. My teacher calls it the spirit mimicry principle. Ma Xiaonuo's expression changed greatly. May I ask, who is your teacher? Tang San said. Everyone calls him Grandmaster. Grandmaster? Is it that Grandmaster who once published the Spirit 10 Great Core Competencies, and afterwards was expelled from Spirit Hall? He's unexpectedly in Nyiding City. Hearing Ma Xiaonuo's words, Tang San only now learned that Grandmaster unexpectedly had come from Spirit Hall, for a moment did not know how he should reply. Ma Xiaonuo's expression suddenly became serious. Tang San, would you be willing to join Spirit Hall? Tang San was dumbfounded for a moment. Grandpa Ma Xiaonuo, am I not already registered in Spirit Hall? Ma Xiaonuo shook his head, saying, No, this is different. Registering at Spirit Hall is a matter the overwhelming majority of Spirit Masters will do, thus obtaining the national stipend. But joining Spirit Hall means becoming Spirit Hall's exclusive Spirit Master. Spirit Master cultivation is also carried out by directly entering a Spirit Hall special institution. Tang San shook his head, saying, That probably is impossible. I have already started studying at Nyiding Primary Spirit Master Academy. Ma Xiaonuo sighed, saying, Indeed it is a step late, considering our Spirit Hall without justification can't force people away from the academy. Forget about it. This is all to blame on that kid Su Yuntao, he originally should have taken you directly to Spirit Hall. Perhaps Grandmaster also would not consent you joining Spirit Hall, after all. Tang San smiled slightly, and said, Do not speak like this. If I had to come to Spirit Hall, maybe I could not obtain such a good spirit ring. What do you say, Grandpa Ma Xiaonuo? Ma Xiaonuo was dumbfounded for a moment, smiling said, What you say is true. Well, your advancement review survey is concluded. Starting from now, you are a Heaven Do Empire honored Spirit Master. Be well received in the ranks of Spirit Masters. Hereafter you every month can rely on the badge issued you in a moment to draw a stipend at Spirit Hall. A Spirit Master's stipend is every month 1 gold spirit coin. When you reach Spirit Grandmaster level, the stipend will become 10 gold spirit coins. Regarding the matter with an animal spirit ring used on a plant spirit, I will as quickly as possible report to a higher authority. Thank you. When Tang San left Spirit Hall, within his 24 moonlit bridges he already had a Spirit Hall specially forged badge. The badge was round, on the back was carved his name, and on the front was carved 2 intertwined brambles, symbolizing Spirit Master level. Even Tang San who was descended from a blacksmith couldn't at all see what metal had been used to forge the badge. After Spirit Hall, Tang San quickly ran in the direction of Nyiding Academy, following Ma Xiaonuo's directions, and this time taking a shortcut, he could cut down on the time by at least half. When he in a moment would reach the academy, suddenly, Tang San heard a familiar sound. His pace subconsciously coming to a stop. Ding dang, ding dang, ding dang. A hammer symbol, a large somewhat rough building, from inside a rhythmic beating was heard. This was precisely a smithy. From looking at the outside, this extent of this smithy was much bigger than Tang San's home, having not a few visitors coming and going. The smithy, Tang San could not help but recall his father's words. Tang Hao once said to him, to later let him find work at a smithy to pay for his livelihood. Only, right now having to do working students' work, did he still have time to come here to work? From growing up in a smithy, concerning the occupation of blacksmith, Tang San could be considered as having some attachment, keenly looking at the smithy, then running off towards the academy. For Grandmaster's body to quickly recover, Tang San used the money Grandmaster gave him to buy some food from the dining hall and bring it back, accompanying Grandmaster and eating together. Grandmaster right now could already walk, and told him he need not look after him, sending him for these days first to regular classes. Moreover, to take a look at that book Grandmaster gave him. Leaving Grandmaster's room, Tang San returned to the working students' dormitory. This time room 7 wasn't again deserted, the working students were basically all there, speaking about something with dancing eyebrows and radiant faces. Little San, you're back. Xiao Wu was sitting leaning back in bed. Of course, her back was leaning on Tang San and her currently common quilt. Xiao Wu, bring me to the place we should sweep. I'll keep my promise, starting from today, give the sweeping assignment to me. Abiding by promises was the foundation of manners. This bit Tang San all along did very well. Xiao Wu darted a look at him, saying, still sweeping something, ah, how cheap for you, hereafter I'll need not sweep. Tang San was taken aback, and said, why? Xiao Wu a little smugly said, do you think this Xiao Wu Ji does something for no reason? That fellow Xiao Chenyu is arranging for people to do our working student work. Afterwards we need not do it, but still as before take the pay. You count for a lot of strength, this time you come cheap. Although Tang San stood by his promises, he also absolutely was not an inflexible person. Chuckling, he said, this turned out pretty good. Hereafter you are the entire Knitting Academy's Xiao Wu Ji. Xiao Wu sat upright, hugging her knees, little face flushed pink and curiously looking at Tang San, saying, what was the result like of your going for Spirit Hall appraisal? Tang San said, done. I'm right now already a Spirit Master. Part 4. The other working students around revealed an envious light in their eyes. Of course, it was only envy, nothing more. The scene today of Tang San's strength when defeating Xiao Chenyu was deeply branded in their minds, especially Wang Sheng, who admired him endlessly. Reaching the conclusion that even after obtaining a spirit ring he still might not be able to win. Xiao Wu, full of curiosity, asked, what good is becoming a spirit master? It can't be just getting some empty title. Tang San chuckled, saying, there are still some benefits. At least in the future I can eat some good things. Spirit Masters get a 1 gold spirit coin stipend every month. 1 gold spirit coin? This much. Xiao Wu by now also understood the importance of money, even though Xiao Chenyu already said in the future the working students' food expenses were all on him, having money in her hand was always better than other people. While speaking, Xiao Wu leapt up off the bed, excitedly running out. Xiao Wu, where on earth are you going? I'm going to register at Spirit Hall. 1 gold coin can buy so many delicious things. Ah. Then there's no need to hurry like this. How can I not hurry? Have you forgotten today is the end of the month? Going now, including next month, maybe I can get 2 gold spirit coins. But, you could at least put on shoes before going. Xiao Wu eventually still left energetically for Spirit Hall. Tang San was secretly laughing in his heart, perhaps that Grandpa Ma Xiunyo would return from shock. After all, Xiao Wu would be a genuine animal spirit battle spirit master. Comparing innate qualifications, this must be much better than his bogus full spirit power. Not needing to do working student work again, Tang Sanio's mind immediately returned to thoughts of that clear and melodious beating sound. Village Elder Jack once said, later on the Intermediate Spirit Master Academy would have a not small fee, he should also trade for very many things for home, and so having many little ways to earn money would naturally be good. And also, this was father's requirement. Still more importantly, only at smithy would he have the chance to increase his armaments. As a result of forging the sleeve dart with his own hands, Tang San discovered, when a hidden weapon was completely made by himself personally, the sense of familiarity regarding the hidden weapons would become even more powerful. Tang San, I apologize for the matter that day, you won't still take offense, right? Just in the middle of Tang San's pondering, Wang Sheng came up to his side, speaking with a sincere expression. Seeing Wang Sheng with a simple and honest smile, Tang San shook his head, saying with a slight smile, "Offense to what? I've long since forgotten. Wang Sheng DA.G, I must go out a while, I'll probably come back in the evening." Wang Sheng nodded, and said, "You go. Right, congratulations on becoming Spirit Master." Tang San said with a slight smile. "It won't be long, and you'll also make a breakthrough." Once again leaving Knitting Academy, Tang San felt a little tired. After today returning with Grandmaster, still without a proper rest, he also fought some with Xiao Chenyu's group. Even though his mysterious heaven skill already entered the second tier, a tired feeling still appeared. However, going to the smithy was still an important matter, at worst he would just start work from tomorrow again. What feared the most Tang San right now, was everyone not accepting him, this little blacksmith. Arriving at the smith, Tang San walked inside straight away. Entering, the heat blew in his face. Any smithy was like that, of course, but at Tang San's home, that shabby smithy, the temperature was much lower than here. Entering, was a wide hall. On the right side of the hall hung a variety of well-forged iron tools. Here were not only farming implements, but further all kinds of armor and weapons. After all, in this world spirit masters were only a small minority. And the price of the weapons naturally had to be much higher than farming tools. Seeing these weapons, Tang San couldn't help but recall the work he did in his previous life. At that time, Tang sect manufactured mechanism-type hidden weapons could be said to be Tang sect's pillar of income. Tang sect had a lot of rules. Even though they traded mechanism-type hidden weapons outside, they also only sold non-poisonous and some ordinary goods. Genuinely secret lore was impossible to take out. Even though it was like that, Tang sect produced hidden weapons were still in short supply in Jianghu. If he in this world also started a hidden weapon manufacturing mill, what kind of income could it bring? "Little friend, why ever have you come here? For buying things, call over your family's adults. Quickly get out, here is dangerous." Right in the middle of Tang San's deep thoughts, a loud and clear voice interrupted his pondering. Looking up at a bare-chested burly fellow looking straight at him, swarthy skin over bulging lumps of muscle, looking extremely solid, in his hand holding a large-sized forging hammer, his forehead completely covered by sweat. "Uncle, greetings. I thought to come inquire whether or not here needs apprentices." Tang San's young, clear, and melodious voice, even though the smithy was extremely noisy with beating steel and iron, still was clearly heard by everyone. The majority of smiths stopped work with hands raised, looking at Tang San, revealing somewhat good-intentioned smiles. Blacksmith could be considered the humblest vocation. All were people with impoverished backgrounds, relying on physical strength and craftsmanship to eat. Although they appeared rough, the majority were extremely good and honest. The big fellow who spoke before measured Tang San up and down a few times, and said, "Little friend, don't go in for it. Quickly leave. Here isn't safe. Is your style of dress like a blacksmith's appearance? Moreover, our place also doesn't take in apprentices this small. You would probably be unable to raise the forging hammer." Ha. Tang San realized that he still wore his neat and tidy school uniform, yet, how could he be regarded as a blacksmith wearing this? "Excuse me, uncle, I'll be back in a moment." Finished speaking, he turned and ran outside. The smithy was very close to Knitting Academy. When Tang San once again returned, he had already changed into his original clothes, all over big patches covering small patches, this style of dress, even if eating hundreds of meals there was no need for makeup. Entering, Tang San did not look for someone else, again looking for that previous uncle. Uncle, do you see that I like this can be regarded as an apprentice? The big fellow looked at Tang San all over wearing 100 stitches, and was immediately stunned a moment. Little friend, you aren't making fun of me, right? Tang San honestly said. Of course not. Uncle, it's like this. I'm a knitting academy working student, every day I have spare time in the afternoon, my father was a village blacksmith. From little I studied forging with father, and thought to come to you here to earn my meals. Part 5. Hearing Tang San's words, the big fellow's expression immediately softened. They all came from poor families, so in their hearts they immediately felt great sympathy. Moreover, this child still attended knitting academy. The big fellow simply said, very well. If you want to come, then come. There are some odd jobs to do for us, you can always carry tea and hand out water. However, wages won't be too high, but food can be guaranteed. How's that? That's all right, no problem. Tang San rejoiced, and hurriedly replied. The blacksmiths all smiled good-naturedly towards Tang San. The big fellow glared at the bunch, saying, what are you looking at, don't you need to work? Hurry up, tonight I'll invite everyone to drink ale. Hearing the big fellow's words, the blacksmith's enthusiasm immediately greatly increased, each and every one swung their hammers and continued their work. The big fellow lifted the forging hammer in his hand, forging pig iron before him to one side, saying to Tang San, I'm called Shi San, Shi of Rock, you can call me Uncle San. This smithy is my inheritance. Hereafter you come to work for me here, I'll guarantee every day's midday meal and supper, and give you 10 copper spirit coins, that's also a silver spirit coin. If you're efficient, I'll give you a bit more. Oh, that's right, what's your name? Uncle San, I'm called Tang San. Tang San? Haha, good, both our names have a San, seems this truly is predestined. What village did you come from? Tang San said. I'm from Holy Spirit Village. Shi San said. You just now said you studied forging with your father from childhood. You are this small, what could your father have taught you? Tang San said. Of course forging. Uncle San, you must not see me as small, but I have the strength, forging pig iron is no problem. Shi San laughed loudly. Brothers, our new little assistant says he also can forge. You believe it? The blacksmiths immediately roared with laughter. Tang San looked like a 6 or 7-year-old, this was even after obtaining the first spirit ring when his stature grew somewhat. From looking at his outward appearance, who could believe he could forge? Being looked down on by people always felt bad, Tang San said. Uncle San, I really can forge, if you don't believe it, you let me have a go. Shi San stopped his work at hand, leaning the forging hammer on the ground. Like this then, if you can pick up my hammer, I'll believe you. As he spoke, he passed the hammer handle to Tang San. Because the hammer head was in contact with the ground, he did not fear Tang San would be unable to hold it up and be smashed. Uncle San, you are ridding this piece of pig iron of impurities. I'll help you accomplish it well. Tang San took the forging hammer handle from Shi San. With Shi San's inborn extraordinary strength, this forging hammer he used was clearly bigger compared to other people's. Compared to Tang San's height it was taller by half a chi or so. Right now, he again had become the focus of the entire smithy, the blacksmiths watching him all appeared to have laughing expressions. But, they very quickly stopped smiling, because, Tang San already lifted that forging hammer, and also was smoothly raising it before him. Compared to ordinary forging hammers its weight it was 30% more, Tang San judged as the forging hammer parted from the ground. Although somewhat heavy, considering him before he obtained a spirit ring, he still could use it with an effort, let alone right now. Seeing Tang San slowly lift the forging hammer, Shi San was also staring wide-eyed, gasping in admiration. Good strength, worthy of the son of a blacksmith. Tang San with eyes brilliant stared fixedly at the pig iron in the furnace, breathed out loudly, and fiercely swung Shi San's forging hammer. Hey! Soles firmly gripping the ground, lower legs abruptly generating force, strength passing up, Tang San's body half turning, and the huge forging hammer swung completely around obliquely, heavily striking on that chunk of pig iron. The great clanging sound already made the blacksmith's smiling expressions become stunned. Immediately following, in pace with the iron hammer's rebound, Tang San quickly made a turn, the iron hammer in his hands once again swung, again making a loud sound, the iron hammer compared to before falling even more heavily on the red-hot pig iron. Uncle San, I'll trouble you to help me draw the bellows. The temperature is not enough. Tang San said quickly, his third blow again already swinging up. This time, the forging hammer's power was even more violent, bringing a wind sound. Shi San was still an old blacksmith, and naturally understood the consequence of insufficient temperature, and hurriedly squatted to one side, pulling up the bellows. The following scene made a lifelong impression on the blacksmiths present. That heavy forging hammer seemed to be alive in Tang San's hands, it drew one circle after another in the air, imbued with rhythm, beating sounds just like a violent storm acting within the smithy. Nobody paid attention to Tang San's both hands that already became shining white like jade. Accompanying the clanging sounds, that chunk of pig iron continuously pulsated under the forging hammer. Shi San on one side was drawing the bellows with full strength, on one side closely staring at Tang San swinging the hammer, his expression was already beyond shocked. The other smiths all knew Shi San's hammer was very heavy, and naturally knew the difficulty of continuously beating. Especially being like Tang San this kind of heavy hammer, it was even more difficult in the extreme. Clang! The last beat completed, Tang San brought the forging hammer to its former place after turning 2 circles, diffusing the hammer's momentum. The big hammer head downward, again dropping to the ground, causing the smithy and blacksmith's hearts simultaneously a moment of shock. 27 blows, a full 27 continuously sustained beats, before Shi San's forging that chunk of pig iron had not changed its appearance an iota, but was now reduced to a circle. Tang San doing this, Shi San knew he could also do himself, but would an entire day's time. One must know, Shi San had formerly been a blacksmith for 15 years' time already. Seeing the slightly panting and forehead appearing sweaty Tang San, Shi San stuttered. T.A.G, that couldn't have been disorder-splitting wind hammer method? Among forging arts the most powerful continuous forging art. Disorder-splitting wind hammer method? What's that? Tang San said uncertainly. Shi San's cheeks were already flushing red because of excitement. What is called disorder-splitting wind hammer method, is a kind of continuous beating forging method, leveraging force, able to most perfectly bring out us blacksmiths' physical strength. It is said the most awesome smiths can continuously swing 81 times, directly having a chunk of pig iron take on the appearance they want. Most importantly, disorder-splitting wind hammer method is the most powerful technique for driving out impurities in metal. I still thought it was lost long ago, I didn't expect to see it today in your hands.